Hello and welcome to the York Creators Podcast. My name is Ben Porter and each week you can join me as I chat to someone from York's creative community. This week's guests are Hannah West and Christian Topman from the Arts Barge Project. Having started the project 9 years ago, they're drawing ever closer to completing the barge with some exciting news about the next stage in the development and fit out. Hannah and Christian are both artists themselves and we discuss the ways they're growing and nurturing their local networks, how art and creativity are good for the soul, and about the creativity required in running a large-scale community project. So Hannah and Christian, welcome to the podcast.
Hello, thank you.
Thanks.
So hopefully most of the people watching this will know what the Arts Barge Project is, but for the few that don't, can you explain what it is and why it's a good thing for York?
Yeah, So it's a project to convert a big ex-cargo river barge of local heritage into an art centre which is community focused and community run kind of arts centre. We call it an art centre?
It's sort of an art centre, yeah. It's sort of an art centre because York hasn't got one. That's where it's all started. York hasn't had an art centre for a long time. And the original idea came about because somebody had an idea to restart an art centre and put it on a boat because costs would be down. And broadly that's still true. We're now 9 years into the project, and the project has been an adventure really of keeping this idea of building the barge and putting it together on the river, and at the same time building the artistic community that will go onto the boat when it's there. Up to now, because we haven't got our own venue, we've been an events company really. We put on all sorts of things. We put on our own events, and we've also taken large groups of artists and people and musicians to other people's events like festivals and things.
So where are you at in terms of development at the moment?
In terms of development, the boat is still in York. We've now got planning permission, which went through last year. That took a very long time. We were dealing with a lot of fear about what people perceive the Arts Barge is going to be, and they were mistaken. It's so people have quite understandable worries that it's going to be some sort of banging nightclub or something like that. The more residents we got to talk to about what the barge is going to be, the more understood, and so it's a good thing for the community. So having got through planning permission, we're now at the stage where we're fundraising and doing the precise planning of how the build's going to happen.
And we've got really exciting news.
Go on.
Which is that we realised that it was going to be really hard to get permission to do the work in the Foss Basin. So we went to other people out, to other areas where we could take the barge to get, and we had quotes that were really, really high, and we were like, oh no, that's so much money, we can't afford it. And anyway, we just found out this week that we are going to be taking the barge to Nottingley and we've got a time frame of when the work's going to start. It's going to be down in Nottingley they can get the work done by the end of May next year. It's a lot of work.
So what work needs to be done on the barge?
We need to completely build the barge up from the inside all the way up. 3 stages: steel, fit out and mooring. And where we are at the moment is we know precisely how we're going to do the steel. So we've got this guy who's going to do the steel for us. So up until now, we've had to look at very big companies, which involves taking the barge a long way and using massively expensive equipment. And so we've these previous quotes, we've managed to find somebody to do it properly, but actually cut 2/3 off the price.
Well.
The downside is time, because what would have been possibly able to do these big companies in 5 weeks, this guy's going to take near 9 months to a year.
But we need time anyway to raise the funds for the rest of the work, so it kind of fits with the amount of time it will take for the funding.
Great. So what can people look forward to when the barge is here?
People can look forward to a venue in York that's primary purpose is the arts and the community arts. We'll have activities are booked in a lot of the time, starting from things in early morning where people might use the space, and we go into the daytimes where there will be all sorts of arts for wellbeing and community arts sessions. All the time can be activity on the barge, because we've got a system we're planning where the different compartments of the barge can be separated, perhaps by curtain. So we could have an art session painting on one side of the barge, curtain across, and still you've got your general sort of community and coffee areas going on. In the evenings we've got lots of music, though the music will be broadly acoustic music. We intend to run it in a way that we can try new things.
So are you in contact with lots of current groups which will use the barge?
Yeah, that's what we spent since 2009 doing, like making friends with everybody. So like we know lots and lots of people.
We do.
And if you're out there and you do art stuff in York and we don't know you, please get in touch. Because we're about networking, and I think that's one of the really important things to say about how the barge is going to run, is it is going to run on networks, on the importance of who we know and who they know, and the networks that we can build in terms of programming the barge. So we will know that we're getting in things that people want to see, because they'll be suggesting it themselves or programming it themselves, or we'll be giving programming residencies to a rolling kind of growing associated programmers and artists. So
you guys are both artists and creators yourselves as well, is that right?
Yeah.
Hannah, you paint and you do art therapy. Can
That's
you tell
right.
me about that?
Yeah. Well, I can paint. I do paint is probably not true, because it's down my priority list, because I feel like creatively at the moment, I really feel like I'm creating an arts barge, and that satisfies me enough in terms of being my creative impulse, because it is a really creative process. But yeah, I'm an art therapist. I've been doing like pilot projects in the last maybe 3 years with Arts Barge, and we did have some funding from Joseph Roundtree to do pilot projects with different client groups to see whether that worked in the community in York, which parts of the community that would work in. And so we've ended up developing the work with adoptive families.
So Christian, you're a musician and you head up some of the bands at the Arts Barge. Do you want to tell me about those?
We've got the Arts Barge Project. We've been doing music from the very beginning, and we've now got a sort of separate but attached organisation called the Arts Barge Collective. That splits off into two parts. We've got our community band, which is called Bargestra. Rehearses every Thursday night. Still looking for new players. Get in touch. And we've also we've got a set of commercial bands that go out that's work generated. And that's good, because that's starting to feed back into the for a living for the players that have all sort of put their energies into the project up to now. When it comes to my work as a bass player and a musician, the whole Arts Barge ideas are just an expansion of what I want to do. It will be getting back to the idea of cross-genre arts that we've tried before. And so you've got young bands working with video makers, working with visual artists, and get that cross-genre thing going on. It's going to be so important on the barge when it's up and running, because it'll kind of be a slightly different thing, rather than anything focused on a particular genre. So I'm very much looking forward to that. That's going to be exciting.
So what do you guys think that we need to do to improve the York art scene?
So open an Arts Barge. That's what we should do. That's my idea. I was going to claim it.
So do you think it's about bringing people together that are doing different things at the moment? Is it about collaboration? Is it about lack of space?
I think it's about a hub which is anyone can. It is what we're trying to do. I'm not saying we've got all the answers and that it's going to change the world, but what we're trying to do is open a place which is very open for people to come and have ideas and meet other artists and work together. So it's like a physical place where people can mix and match ideas, and there's space in there for them to work with that.
It's
And I
important.
don't think that exists at the moment.
Yeah, it's important to have the spaces where people can take risks and kind of try things which
Take
maybe
risks. That's a good way of putting it.
yeah, which you couldn't do in a kind of commercial space because the cost is too high.
I think
No.
I've always felt that much of the Arts Barge activity is about, regardless of what it is, music or visual arts or whatever, it's more about the making than what pops out at the end. So what that doesn't mean we don't mind what comes out at the end, but actually the focus is literally on the making. So the making can be the central point of what's going on.
For me anyway, I'm like really motivated by the fact that I believe, because I'm an art therapist, and I just believe that engaging in that creative process with other people, it really helps. It really is good for your soul.
Well, fundamental, isn't it?
It's
Yeah.
and it's really good for relationships and community, and it builds stronger communities. So that's what we need, like, in our life and in our world, in our country.
So what have you guys got coming up between now and when the barge arrives? What will you be doing?
So there's a number of things. Firstly, the Arts Barge are going to be stepping back into events again on different scales, but we will certainly be doing some events. We're making promotional materials, and we're making videos, and we're making websites for the Arts Barge Collective. We're also going to be gathering community support to be able to actually do work on the boat for actual on the barge activity, maybe painting, and also in the events, when some will be fundraising, some will be profile raising. So we've got and the actual process of fundraising itself is going to be, well, that's going to be big, isn't it? Because
There's so much to do behind the scenes. It looks like we're not doing anything, but we actually, there's so much to do, and we've not sorted the lease is a thing that needs a lot of work to sort out. The lease where we're going to be moored, because it's not been leased ever before, so we have to make a new lease. The council has to make a new lease for us. There's so many details, practical details to sort out and to price up, and then find the money for. And
with answering your direct question, which is what's happening over the next year. I mean, some of the things are making happen what we've wanted to make happen for ages. For example, accepting some of this help. I mean, your question, when you start to think about all the people who've actually offered help in various ways that we were simply not in a position to accept. So hopefully this year is going to be the time where we can accept that help. But yeah, we've been offered all sorts of and it is important, because the scale of this project is unlike anything that's happened in York from sort of a community group. The barge, I mean, we could talk about the barge. The barge is 100 foot long and 20 foot wide, and it just sits there, 80 tons. It's a huge boat, and we've got to pin that to the bank. So there's the whole physical side of it, and then on top of that, there's the artistic events that are going to put on the boat. So it's a really big thing. Why it's taken a long time, but hopefully this year is going to be a year where we start tie all the ends together.
So how can people get in touch with you then?
They can go to our website, or they can email us direct at info@artsbarge.com, or I'm sure you put on your little screen, you can put numbers and things, can't you?
We can put links and things like that.
Got links.
We should
we're
have brought.
on
We should
Twitter, we're on this, we're on Facebook.
There's an Arts Barge group as well, is that right?
There is an Arts Barge group
Facebook
on
group.
On Facebook, yeah, which anybody can contribute to. The Arts Barge group is, we invite people to.
It's a notice board, really,
notice
about
board,
what's going on.
We've also got an Arts Barge page, which is more about what's actually going to be going on with the Arts Barge itself, and our website will be starting to post up these activities and these building news as it happens. Yeah.
And if anybody wants to become a regular donor, that is will be
100
gratefully
club.
accepted. We have a 100 club.
We haven't brought the artwork.
No,
have
we should have brought it.
Yeah.
We could pop in a picture.
Yeah. We can pop it just here if you want.
Yeah.
Oh, right, yeah.
So this.
So tell me about that. What is this?
So this is our 100 Club, and basically, so we ask people to donate monthly if they want to support the project on an ongoing basis, which is what we really need, because it helps pay for things like the insurances and mooring costs and things like that, so that that's taken care of and we can concentrate on the project. People are donating between £4 and up to £10 a month, in exchange for which we'll give you a fabulous piece of artwork.
Great.
Which is a print by Kai West, my son, and he's done one he did one for last year and he's done one for this year as well, so specifically for that purpose, a limited edition, which is why it's called 100 Club. There's 100, and so we have some of those left.
Yeah.
Great. Well, thank you guys. Thanks for being on the podcast.
Thank you very
You're
much.
welcome.